Hello everybody, so today's video is going to be in the Volvo 360. This is my own car. This is probably video number 3 or 4 at the moment that I've done on this one. So in today's video what we're going to do is we're going to get the car up in the air, we're going to get a much closer look at the structure or maybe lack of it. Those sills are suspect, we'll get a closer look at the floors. I also want to take a closer look at the mechanical side of things, the suspension, the steering, the brakes, and we'll have a look to see what work needs doing on that. So I hope you find this one interesting, and can you predict if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad? Right, I've got my wee assistant tonight helping, so let's get the car up in the air. And I'm hopeful the car will lift and not just the jack. Well, there it is moving now. Right, and that's it up in the air. Now let's take a wee closer look round, see what we can find. Okay, so I think sills are probably as good a place as any to get started. There we go. What do we reckon of those then? How many tins of filler have been applied in here? I'm actually kind of secretly looking forward to getting dug into this. There's a patch there. There's another patch there. Closer up on that one. And it looks like a hole there between the two patches. And I'd imagine there's probably more patches there at the back. A whole load of filler in that, which isn't ideal. And yeah, back arch does have some filler on it there, but the arches don't look as bad, obviously, as those sills. This arch area here, I imagine that is just pure filler. So I'll have my work cut out, making that look pretty. Now, in the bottom of this front wing, I'm assuming there's probably meant to be a join down there and it's not meant to be sealed onto the sill like that. So that will need breaking away and obviously repairing individually. That front wheel arch lip also looks very much worse for wear. There's going to be a lot of filler in these, I can tell you. Let's take another look round here. Very thin that bit, so that's not going to be good. And there's the wheel arch we looked at earlier. I mean, if you look down there, you can see evidence of a patch, but that'll probably need dug out unless it's been done properly. Bottom of the rear quarter, that actually doesn't look too bad. That looks original. This has had something going on at this side here. That doesn't look great there, does it? So that's obviously had a bit of filler work, maybe a bit of metal work, I don't know. We will have to wait and see. And then round the bottom of that quarter, that doesn't look too bad, so that's strange. This wheel arch looks much better than the passenger side one. The further you get closer to the sill, the worse it gets. But yeah, that's not too bad. I've seen much worse. And the sill is very much the same as the other side. There is a big, massive patch. You can see running along there. Probably put your finger through that one, I imagine. Been a patch along there as well. And then that is starting to break away. That's where they've just fillered over from the front wing to the sill. Now, this is where it's not looking so good under here. Let's take a closer look at this front driver's side arch. Well, there's some amount of filler going on in there. I mean, it's actually packed full behind the arch lip itself. They've literally just packed it in there. There isn't a lip as such like there is. In fact, the whole lot is packed full of filler there. I wonder if we can make that out. Yeah, so it's about 1.5 inches of filler right the way down to the bottom there. And right the way around up there. So that is going to be an interesting job. It's probably going to be a case of trying to find, I would say, a replacement front wing for that. Front valance, we've had a discrete patch put on there. And yeah, it doesn't get any better. The bottom half of that front valance, they have been working their bodywork magic under here to give us a nice, invisible, structurally sound repair. And the same round here. So, yeah, Really it needs a front valance, 2 sills, and the arch is repaired to some extent once you actually get dug into it to see how bad they are. But yeah, it just seems to be everything at that bottom half of the car. So let's take a wee look underneath and see how it looks under there. Right, and here's the view underneath. Now, this bit here is a wee bit dodgy. It looks like the pad where we've jacked up has split away. Now, can we actually get a good view on that on the camera? That's probably the bad. There you go. There's the best view you're going to get there. Yeah, so that's split right away. So it's obviously a hole through there that wasn't apparent a few hundred miles ago at the last MOT, if you believe that one. So that's going to need some remedial work there. But the floors themselves aren't drastic. Let's try and get the camera there. Yeah, see along that floor, that's actually pretty decent. Same along the middle. That's not too bad. And the passenger side, again, it isn't too bad. That side, that jacking point, well, a wee bit better. It's squashed upwards a wee bit. And I know the floor at that side isn't too bad because I looked under it before. Quite a rusty exhaust there. Let's have a wee look. Let's have a wee look round the back. Right, rear inner arch. That's no bad. Now underneath, whatever we have going on under here, a bit of under sealing. Now we'll come back to that in a minute. It's not too bad, to be honest. There's surface corrosion, but I'm not immediately seeing any holes on the main structure of the car. That's the back of those sills there. They're also going to need a wee bit of work. But yeah, the main structure, I mean, there we've got your leaf spring mounts there, aren't too bad. We can't get too much of a view at the other side because the exhaust's in the way and sitting on the ramp, which is helpful. So yeah, not too concerned. There's other, in fact, there's the rear of the spring mounts there. Again, not drastic. That chassis member doesn't look too bad. Somebody's been in there, I think, with a bit of underseal. There's no obvious holes. Also that side's not too bad either. So interesting. So was that what you expected? Better or worse? Well, in some ways it's better than I expected. I didn't know when I bought it that I was going to have to tackle these sills. That's no big deal. Well, I guess there's probably going to be inner sill damage once we get into them. But yeah, if we just get some new sills on that, get them dug out, that's going to be the biggest eyesore gone. And obviously these, Jesus. These, I wonder if you can get arch repair sections for these. I'll need to have a wee look. Okay, let's take a wee look at suspension, steering and brakes, see how bad it is. So, wheel bearing play, a wee bit there. We do have a wee bit play there, which does feel like track rod end. And I think the inner end of that tie bar as well. Now the rest of the suspension, I did have a wee look earlier before I started filming, isn't too bad. So if we look under here, front anti-roll bar, the bushes are actually really good on that. The drop links, doesn't seem to be any play in them, because to be fair, there isn't any clunking when you go over bumps. But yeah, once a track rod end there, and maybe an inner. So that thrust arm there, that's cracked and deteriorated quite badly, but again, we're not getting any clunking off it. So for me, I think the priority is going to be track rod end, get that done, and then we can go from there. Bottom ball joint seems all right as well. In fact, what we'll do is maybe take a crowbar to that just now and have a wee look. Yep, I'm not really seeing any play there. And then that bush, that inner bush, nah, that's fine as well. So yeah, bottom arm looks pretty good. And interestingly, there's actually not a lot of play on that, but they are quite difficult to get to move. So let's take a wee look at the other side. Let's have a look at this arm first here. Right, so let's take a look at the other side. This bush here. That seems all right to me. They do look very old, these arms. Let's see if we can get a wee point to get in there with crowbar. Which I'm struggling to get in actually. And that one. There we go. That's nothing on that. Anti-roll bar bush. That looks good. Drop links. Drop links again. They're pretty decent. Okay, around to the driver's side. Wee bit again on the wheel bearing, maybe a wee bit more than a wee bit. And the same there. That track rod end. And that inner one. So there's a wee bit of work to be done on that. But what I want to do now is I'm just going to whip this wheel off. I'm going to take a closer look at the brakes. Right, let's get this wheel off. Tiny wee 13-inch wheels that you can actually lift off very easily. Right, let's take a closer look at this front disc. But to be fair, there's no scoring on it actually. There's a wee bit of a lip on the top there, so there's a wee bit of wear. That pad looks pretty decent, as does the other one. So I think they've probably been replaced not too long ago. There's probably about maybe about 7 mil on those, so they're not too bad. And that's nice and loose as well, which is good. Spring. Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad. There's no breakages on there. They're very, very old, as are those brake hoses. I mean, there's no obvious cracks on the hoses, so I'm not going to be running to replace them this exact moment in time, but if we are doing other work on the brakes and I can find some, I'll probably just replace them anyway. Let's have another look at that drop link. That's not bad. Yep, I don't think that's too bad. There's maybe a wee bit on it. So let's take a closer look in here. There's definitely been some welding going on in here. So we have a patch up there, various other patches down there. So that could all probably do with getting dug out and done properly. So that is a scary looking area, that. Right, okay, we'll have a wee look at the back of the car now. Spinning nice and freely, this one. Doesn't seem to be any play on that one at all. There was something interesting I did see earlier on that shock absorber. Yeah, so the shock's definitely seen better days. Yeah, that's nice. So we'll need to see if we can get another shock absorber in there. And these old leaf springs, there's no noise from the back of the car. So I think the mounts are probably pretty decent. So let's take a look at the last wheel here, passenger side rear. It spins quite freely, that one. And no play in that, which is good. And again, there was no knocking from this side, and we do have a full shock absorber on this side, so that is a positive. So great, so what do we think then? Right, so that wraps up our video for tonight then, the summer of the Volvo. So put in the comments what you think. Awful, a bad buy, what you expected. I mean, I think the Volvo 340 and 360 fans out there probably knew it was going to be a rough one, but you know, there'd be no content if it was a mint one, would there? So yeah, I think the first jobs is we'll get a look at some of these mechanical things. We've got that carburetor to rebuild. The list is getting bigger, but the car is usable, you know, but we'll get some of these safety-related things sorted out first as a matter of priority. So I hope you all found that interesting. Please remember to like and subscribe, and then you can stay up to date with the progress on the 300 project.